Welcome to the TRT and Hormone Optimization YouTube channel. And I have a guest today, 18 years old, Calvin. Welcome, man.
Hey there. I'm sorry to correct you, but I'm actually 17, which makes it even more interesting. Um, it actually affects the dosage they're allowed to give medically.
All right, 17 years old. All right, so the reason why I love to hear your story is because you are especially so young and you're already on TRT. So share your story with us.
All right, well, I will say it's a little blurry sometimes. I think I went through a period of my life where I kind of lost control. So for a period of time, right around when the whole COVID thing happened, the whole lockdown, basically I had nothing to do. So I found some, I found podcasts actually at that point in time. And I kind of got obsessed with listening to these podcasts and do it while I would go out for a walk. And every day I went out for a walk, and at one point, at its worst, I was probably taking between 50 and 60,000 steps. Um, so just a ton of cardio that was kind of mindless and unnecessary. And I don't think I touched a weight for about a year. So no strength. Combined with that, I got at that point in time, the podcast I was listening to was a lot of diet related stuff. And I think podcasts weren't really generalizable for me. I think they were targeted at an audience of people that were pretty overweight and actually needed to lose weight. So a lot of the advice was eating less. Fasting is something that I found. Um, I heard all the great things about it on these podcasts about how healthy it is. So I picked it up, and again, I would say at its worst. Um, on top of all the steps I was taking every day, I was probably eating about 5 times a week. So this was a day, and I would do brief fasts between those. And this is something that a morbid obese person might benefit from to lose weight rapidly. But this was not something that I would benefit from. And I got down to about 109 pounds. And for reference, about 5'8", 5'9". Um, and at the time I was, I believe, so right around that stage of hitting puberty. Um, and I will say that with all the podcasts, I kind of understood exactly what I did to myself. I basically set myself up for having no testosterone, and I could definitely feel it. Um, so I went to my doctor and I asked him to check my testosterone, and at first he was like, he thought nothing of it, and he just thought I was going crazy. Honestly, he didn't really want to order the test. I actually think we had to go back twice because the first time he just got a normal panel and didn't order the testosterone. So I asked politely again to get the testosterone, and we finally got it. And when we got the test back, my level below 5 nanograms. So, and this is a 250, I think. Um, so it was definitely pretty bad. And so we went to the endocrinologist and got the prescription immediately, pretty much. And I've been taking right off the bat. We started with 50 milligrams once a month, and today I'm up to um, the max dose that at least he's willing to give me. I'm not sure all the protocols around that of 100 milligrams 2 weeks, and I split that up into 50 milligrams per week.
Mhm.
And I will say that I'm not sure if I regret getting on testosterone, but I do regret starting so low and basically shutting down my own production, but taking it so periodically and so spaced out that for 2/3 of the month, I didn't have the exogenous testosterone I was taking, and I didn't have any of my own production, so I was riding on zero.
Yeah. So, when did you up the dose? And was that discussable with your doctor?
Yeah, so all of the testosterone was actually through they call him pediatric endocrinologist. Tussle them a lot. a lot of times, unfortunately, it feels like I'm teaching him a few new things about testosterone. So he's a lot of times he said, "I don't know. I'll have to look into." Um, so
Hmm.
a few times I've like I when we initially did the dose of 50 milligrams once a month, I brought to his attention that the idea of it having a half life, and that was something that he was almost surprised about. Um, So I would say a lot of the times I've been managing it on my own. Like I was told to take 100 milligrams every 2 weeks, and I've decided on my own. Obviously, I talked about it and just made sure I was like, can we space it out? Instead of doing large, doing at least every week. And he was like, oh, that might be a good idea. Uh,
Hmm. Sure.
so we did increase, and this was something that I had to advocate for. We increased about I think 3 months ago, we finally got up to 100 milligrams every 2 weeks, and at this point, I'm capped out at what they will my age.
Okay. And did you check your levels on that dose?
Yeah, so unfortunately, on that dose, I'm still hovering around, I would say 300 to 375. Um,
Okay.
so it is a little, I guess it's almost a waiting game to uh, once I hit 18, they'll probably
Hmm.
be a little bit stronger because I'm pretty sure just with everything happening at my age and having to start so early that the chance that I end up recovering, uh, my own exogenous production is going to be a long journey. So we'll see what happens. I'm not quite sure if it puts me in a better situation or a worse situation to come off testosterone. But that's something we'll find out in the future. But right,
Hmm.
the dose that I am taking is keeping me still subpar. I'm sure as you can advocate for. uh,
Yeah,
700,000 range makes, you know, just
sure.
uh, you're getting all your potential. Um, but for now, we're hovering in that range.
Hmm. And what were your symptoms before testosterone, and have they become better now?
Yeah, so um, really just mental health was a lot of it. When I was at the lowest, I was kind of like I said, it was almost a blur. I think memory and cognition went down. Um, I was kind of living every day almost on autopilot, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
for the year straight, that I probably had levels below 100 for I would say at least 9 months. And, like I said, that period were just not kind of repeating this every day, not really motivated to change at all. Um, Definitely all the libido things that you would expect a teenager to have in abundance. Kind of I just didn't have. And obviously, uh, being indoors by ourselves all the time didn't help much with that. But um, yeah, it's kind of a blur then. And as of late, so I've always been a really, really motivated person. I've never really had it, just not being able to motivate myself to do anything. I'm actually suffer with kind of quite the contrary. Um, Sometimes I put a lot of pressure on myself to kind of always do more, and that kind of comes at the just some anxiety, like not feeling I'm symptoms. But during that period of time, kind of, I think I was listening to a lot of podcasts and doing a lot of research to make myself feel like I was doing something important. But truly, I think there were better things that I could have done with my time. I just didn't have the motivation to really do it. Um,
Hmm.
and now I definitely have a little motivation to start. And for a while now, I've been trying to start a nutrition business. Like I've been doing as much socialization as I can. I honestly really enjoy it. And I think at least I did see a change after increasing my dose up to 100 that is like my motivation to do things that actually require like real work definitely increased a little bit. Um, so that's something that I'm trying to get. now is maybe even helping other people with some simple things, and making sure that people don't do what I did, and find the wrong information at the wrong time. Or
Hmm.
let me rephrase that: find the right information, but at the wrong time. Um, so I'm really passionate now and kind of motivated to start up a coaching business and help other people.
Yeah, great. Has there any research been done in why you were lacking testosterone at your young age?
Yeah, so they did a few tests on personally to look at just genetic reasons. Like they checked. I think they did a brain and a testicular scan to see if like the communication system was all there, and everything seemed to be fine. It was more simply, it's sort of like when a natural bodybuilder right before stage, they get down to very low percent body fat, like 3 or 4%. I almost said two. They'd be dead if they did that. But they get between 3 and 6%, and when they step on stage, a lot of studies have been done that they're at this, not as bad as I was, but they're probably at testosterone levels in the hundreds and 200 range at that point. It's kind of just a response to getting extremely, extremely lean. And for me, I probably at its worst, I was probably around 4% body fat. But I didn't have any of the muscle to make it look good. So it didn't look like 4% body fat. So I would kind of just put I guess, for lack of a better term, that starvation mode where your body kind of preserves all function and stops producing sex hormones. So I think my levels just got that low because it was a period of time that my body was kind of fighting for every last bit of
Hmm.
the, energy it could make, and just producing testosterone was not at the top of the priority list.
And don't you think that upping the calories back again with a little bit of a higher, body fat percentage and maybe taking up resistance training wouldn't have been another solution instead of TRT at your age?
I really do wish so at the time. So yeah, as of now, I'm doing a. I basically resistance train every single day, and I'm eating obviously far more than I was. But at the time, I think I was a little bit younger and a little bit more naive, and my thought was, um, you know, I'll get this testosterone, and like I'll start, and everything will be better. And I guess I didn't really think of the external factors. I At that point, I will say the same with the kind of motivation aspect. I didn't have the motivation to do anything, and it felt like, oh, here's like this magic injection that I could take.
Hmm.
That I was younger at the time, and now I do definitely regret starting. I do wish that I hadn't kind of advocated so much at that time to start TRT, even though I was very low. I think a lot of lifestyle things I could have. I definitely could have. So as of now, once I've started and began learning more, I have made a lot of changes, like resistance training. I've been taking one supplement, but so through my diet, getting a lot of zinc and things like that that really help with just all the precursors, and getting in a lot of dietary fat. At that point, when I was eating, it was all low fat stuff, all the things that's recommended um, for that population, really. Um, so I think a better step would have been upping the calories, obviously eating
Hmm.
things like whole eggs and liver, oysters, things like that. Red meat, as expensive as it is, I would have loved to eat some more red meat. But I think at the time I didn't keep my habits entirely, but I think I held on to them a little bit too much and just looked for the injection. So as of now, I'm trying my best to do everything I can to get off of testosterone as possible, and we'll see how that journey goes.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing the story. And yeah, be sure to stay in touch and reach out in the Facebook group wherever needed. If you need any help, we have a lot of experts in the group as well. So I'm glad you found already a good of um, yeah, info on this topic, because yeah, I know when I started in 2017, I couldn't find anything either. So there's more now. It's easier now. So thanks to the social media and so on. So maybe from you, one last message for other young men, 16, 17, 18 years old with the same kind of troubles. What is your message?
Yeah, I think before starting anything, any kind of testosterone therapy or even supplement in general, I think there's so much that you can do with your diet and your lifestyle that um can really radically change the way that your physiology's performing. Getting more sleep, the more the better. I think it seems like kids, at least my age, while 7, 8 hours is good and it's more than most kids are getting, um, it seems like the best results seem 10 hours. A lot of a lot of athletes, like young athletes, are being recommended to get 10 hours if they really want to, push themselves to the limit at that young age. And it seems to be really beneficial. So I think getting more sleep always helps. And then things with the lifestyle, like always lifting weights as much as possible. Um, doing things like compound movements, like squats and things like that, also are super helpful for increasing testosterone. It sounds odd, but just anything that makes you feel like you're winning, even the small wins in the day, seem to actually increase your testosterone.
Mm,
So in keeping yourself motivated. And then obviously the diet is huge. I think some of the best things are oysters, egg yolks, um, organ meats, as terrible as that sounds for some people. Um, just a lot of those foods that can give you the precursors and some and the nutrients that you need. And then for me personally, I actually take one supplement, and that is zinc. I take 30 milligrams twice a day. But I
mm,
think the last for if once you diet or once you dial in your kind of your healthy habits and diet, I think the zinc is almost like a booster. And there's a few other supplements being looked into right now. But other than maybe like Tonkata, you can get everything from diet you really need. And I think that's a great step.
yeah. Awesome, Calvin. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Keep in touch, and maybe we'll hear back from you within a few months or years if you're in a better place, even. Okay.
I sure hope so. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Calvin. Bye bye now.
All right. Bye. Have a good one.
Consider becoming a channel member for exclusive features like loyalty badges, early access to new videos, funny stuff like rough cuts and bloopers, members only photos and status updates on the community tab, and members only livestream chat. On desktop, use the join button next to the subscribe. On mobile, use the join link in the description.